Hello and welcome to this week's mini episode. Today we're going to be talking about the H.A.L.T method, which shockingly I just heard about for the first time recently, but apparently it's a very common term used in addiction recovery. H.A.L.T, H-A-L-T, it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And we want to avoid being those things when we're recovering from a substance. So let's get into today's mini episode. Welcome to Hold My Drink, a sobriety podcast. This is a no judgment zone. I really freaking like my life without alcohol. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Sobriety has changed my life completely. Before we start the episode, if you wouldn't mind rating or reviewing wherever you're listening, or even hitting the subscribe button, it really, really helps the show grow and makes it so that I can continue making these. I love making these, and I think you guys are enjoying it so far. So if you are, I would really appreciate a quick rate, review, or subscribe. Thank you so much. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about H.A.L.T. So H.A.L.T stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And I just discovered this on TikTok not long ago, but apparently it's a very common thing that is talked about in recovery. I didn't do any sort of medical recovery or rehab or AA or anything. So this is a new term to me, and I really like it actually. So when you are recovering from a substance, you basically want to avoid getting too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired, because those are all triggering things to make you want to drink again. So let's start with the first one, hungry. This one I totally get, because sometimes I would confuse hunger with I'm craving a drink. And I still do to this day, actually. It's very interesting. Sometimes when I'm feeling triggered, I realize, oh my God, I'm actually just hungry. Because in my drinking days, I would avoid meals and drink instead. And Coors Lights in my head were like a meal because, they're carb heavy and filling, and that carbonation kind of fills you up. And so when I had the feeling of hunger, I would crave a beer. It was very weird, but that's how it worked in my mind. And obviously I'm not alone because this H.A.L.T method exists. So you want to keep yourself nourished. You want to be eating when you're hungry, fueling your body, especially if you're working out and being active. You want to make sure that you're eating enough. So don't let yourself get too hungry, because that can trigger your mind to thinking about alcohol. The next one is angry. And this one, of course, when you're angry or stressed or frustrated, you want to drink. I mean, we want to drink as people who are heavy drinkers. It's just what happens. It's, called taking the edge off, or just drinking about a frustrating situation. In movies and TV shows, we always hear people saying like, oh, I need a drink after something crazy happened or stressful happened, or I'm going to need another drink for that. It's always to deal with anger or anxiousness or a frustrated feeling. So you just want to avoid feeling like that in the first place as much as you can, and then finding better strategies to deal with the anger or frustration or whatever. So ways to avoid getting angry in the first place: having control of your emotions. And this is something that you learn in sobriety. Like, you literally have to treat yourself like a newborn freaking baby, or like a toddler or something who's just learning how to deal with their emotions, because we drank to cover up so many of our emotions, including anger and frustration. Like I said, I need a drink. So something bad happens in your life, you're frustrated, you're angry, you just have a drink and it's a quick Band-Aid fix. Well, in sobriety, you have to actually deal with those things and think about why you're feeling that way. And it actually really helps get to the root cause, and it helps you with regulating your emotions. So generally, I would say in sobriety, you get less angry and less hot. Like you're less instinctually getting angry, if that makes sense. You're not lashing out. You're not saying something sassy back to somebody's snarky comment, you just learn to take things for what they are, realize why it made you angry. Okay, maybe it was an attack on your personality. Maybe they were talking about somebody that in a negative light. Just try to understand why it made you angry in the first place, and then find a way to regulate those emotions. So it's like, do I need to have an adult, calm conversation to address this, or do I let this one slide? We learn about impulse control in sobriety and thinking just a little bit more before we speak or before we physically lash out or whatever. We take a moment, just take a beat to think about it. And I think this helps with you not needing a drink in anger or frustration. So I hope that helps a little bit. Obviously, just try to live in sobriety. You do live just a calmer, more thoughtful life. And so angry situations really do happen less. You're also treating yourself better. So just everyday frustrations and anger doesn't get to you as much because you have a good life and you're investing in yourself. Sorry, this was a little all over the place, but in general, try your best to not get angry. Put yourself in a position to where frustrating things don't happen as much. But when they do, inevitably, learn to take a beat, analyze why you're feeling that way, and calmly think about how you would like to proceed. Instead of, I'm angry, have a drink. Just take a minute to reflect. And I think that helps with addressing the angry portion of HALT. Moving right along to the L, lonely. Loneliness is a huge trigger for people to drink. Huge. I would go as far as to say it's the number one trigger for people, at least from what I've heard in my comments on TikTok. And for me, it 100% without a doubt is the most triggering one for me because my favorite way to drink was alone. If you haven't listened to the Drinking Alone episode, go ahead and listen to that next. But loneliness is where I feel most triggered. I'm living with several people at the moment, and when everyone's out of the house, I get a little tinge of I kind of want to drink. Or if I have an evening and I have the house to myself, I want to drink. If I'm at the airport, I want to have a drink because I don't know anybody there. I'm sitting there by myself. I have time to kill. So loneliness is a huge trigger for me. And so, first of all, you should generally try to avoid your triggers if you can. Like for me, I still love my alone time, so I don't need to avoid it. But if that is so triggering for you, maybe consider surrounding yourself by more people. Like the fact that I live with so many people right now kind of helps me mentally too. Having people around, having stuff constantly going on, constant conversations, it helps. It really does. So either don't be lonely, like don't be alone too much. Surround yourself with community, family, friends, whatever. Or learn how to address your lonely trigger. So when you get that feeling of like, I'm kind of craving a drink right now, figure out what works for you as a different solution. Whether that's having a recess drink, which is an adaptogen drink, I talk about those a lot, or maybe binging your favorite TV show. Like find a way to enjoy your loneliness so that you don't even think about drinking. Seriously, listen to the Drinking Alone episode if you haven't already. I talk about all sorts of amazing things that you can do in your alone time that don't involve drinking and don't make you think about drinking. So anyway, avoid being too lonely in life. Find a community. If you haven't joined my Facebook group already, join that because that's a great sense of community. If you're ever lonely, go on there and just chat with people. So feel free to join at the link in the description. And the T in HALT stands for tired. And yes, so you want to also avoid being too tired because it's so weird. Alcohol is supposed to relax you and make you tired, right? But yet I feel really tempted to drink when I'm already tired. If I'm exhausted, it makes me want to be more exhausted with alcohol, if that makes sense. I think it has to do with the fact that I used to literally drink myself to sleep. Like I would drink until I passed out and then, a couple hours later I'd wake up and move myself to the bed from the couch. So maybe the tiredness and the fact that I used to drink in my tiredness is triggering to me. I don't know why that is, but a lot of times we think about alcohol when we're tired and exhausted. So make sure that you're getting enough sleep. That sounds so cheesy, but like literally I try to get 9 hours of sleep. Whatever time I go to bed, I count on my fingers 9 hours and set my alarm for that time. I know not everyone has the luxury of doing that. We have to wake up for various responsibilities, but try to get enough sleep and listen to your body. If you're tired at 8 p.m., you can go to bed at 8 p.m. It's okay. You don't have to force yourself to stay up. So try not to be tired, try not to be lonely, try not to be angry, try not to be hungry, because those are 4 emotions or feelings that often trigger substance use, whether that's alcohol or something else. So I really like the HALT method. I'm going to talk about it more in my sobriety journey because I think it's really important, and it's very helpful to just easily remember those 4 letters. And if you have a craving or you're thinking about alcohol, maybe go through that list and think about, am I feeling hungry? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling tired? See which one of those letters you might be falling into, and then evaluate that and address that situation in a more healthy way. If you're tired, go take a nap. If you're lonely, call up a friend, go on a walk, do something that brings you joy in your alone time. If you're angry, maybe address why you're feeling angry, why you're feeling frustrated, and consider going and taking a walk or something healthy. If you are hungry, have a meal instead of having alcohol or thinking about alcohol. Drink some water. Sometimes it's the simplest things that actually are the solution to our cravings. So try to think about H.A.L.T if you're having cravings, and good luck out there. You got this. I believe in you. And if nobody has told you today, I am proud of you for even taking the step of listening or watching this podcast. You are taking a step in the right direction. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.